Everything that can be counted does not necessarily count. Everything that counts cannot be counted. Profits, revenues, market share, anything that you use to describe and measure the success of your business is not the most important thing. You will never be successful or sustain success until you value the people. You cannot quantify human beings.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of the People Hum's interview series. I'm Ashwarya Jain from peopleHum. peopleHum is an end-to-end, one-view integrated human capital management automation platform, the winner of the 2019 Global Cody Award for HCM, that's specifically built for crafted employee experiences and the future of work. We run the peopleHum blog and channel that receives more than 400,000 visitors a year, and we also publish several interviews with well-known names globally every month. And with us today, we have a very special guest. We have Michael Duke. Michael is a CEO, coach, and founder of the premier online training course, How to Develop a Coaching Mindset, which empowers emerging, transitioning, and struggling leaders, especially in finance, accounting, engineering, and technical fields. A senior business leader driving excellence in business and personal growth, he helps CEOs, companies, and diverse executives grow as fast and as far as possible to their optimum potential. Welcome, Michael. We're so thrilled to have you.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. Happy to be here.
So, Michael, let's rewind a little bit. You've had 20 plus years of corporate business and executive management experience. We would love to learn a little bit about the work that you're doing now with, Vistage Worldwide, and what are the ideologies of the company?
Well, I started working with Vistage about 3 years ago. Vistage is an international company that is really devoted to helping CEOs and business owners make better decisions. So they create peer advisory groups for CEOs, and it's a fantastic business model. They started in the 1950s and now have 26,500 members worldwide, and I'm sure there's many in India that are proud to call themselves Vistage members. I'm a Vistage chair. I have 12 CEOs and business owners in my group, and we lean in and help each other by offering feedback on the questions that they have about their business. And it's a very rewarding business, as well as one that allows people to grow their business faster and more profitably.
Wow, that sounds really great, Michael. I'm sure that the pandemic sort of changed outlook or just perspective on how people ran their businesses. And in the new workplace that's increasingly challenging now, how would you suggest that leaders take their employees into consideration and also sort of become better mentors, because everybody is struggling so much and going through such tough times?
Now, that's a great question. I think the businesses, the leaders that have thrived during the pandemic, and I would say the 12 leaders that are in my group, 7 or 8 of them had record years. And the thread, I think, between the ones that were more successful than others, and I think I see this in the business community as a whole, is those that were willing to be flexible. Pre-pandemic, many leaders were very opposed to the idea of remote workers. They wanted everyone in place. They wanted everyone there. They felt like that was important to the culture of the team, for the workers to be as productive as possible. They needed to be on site so they could communicate and so forth. What they've learned is that that's not as important. It might be a preference, but it's not essential like they thought. So I've seen many businesses thrive by offering people remote work opportunities. Some folks don't like it and want to come back in and work in a socially distanced environment, while others are very happy to work remote. So when you're thinking about being successful, the leaders that are paying attention to this, I would consider the preferences and feelings of your employees. Those that want to work remotely, try to make that happen with a VPN or some sort of remote access. Give them the security that they need, the tools that they need to work at home successfully. Maybe reimburse them for some of that expense to set up successfully at home. And those that want to work in a team environment, make that possible by giving them private offices, socially distanced at work. So I think that's the key, is to be flexible. If we really put our employees first and think about their needs and their preferences, we're likely to have more productive employees, enjoy greater retention, and really enjoy a longer term success with the people that have been with us through this pandemic.
Yeah. Yes, I think that makes sense, Mike, because, adaptability is going to be key, because we are slowly realizing that the pandemic is, was not a sprint, but now is a marathon almost. So I think, that flexibility, adaptability that leaders must now take on is going to be very important as a next step in their career development. But, also when you're coaching, these leaders, are you facing some kind of challenges, because when you are in an environment where you're looking at each other face to face, a lot of people say that there is more connection, you can talk more freely. Have you seen sort of differences in the way you coach when it comes to the virtual environment?
Yes, definitely. Part of it is by necessity. And I think that's an important point, is the adaptability, Ash, that you just mentioned, has always been important. It's always been important for leaders, CEOs and business owners, to be adaptable, to be flexible to whatever the challenges were. They just didn't want to. They didn't see the need. And the pandemic really forced their hand. So those leaders that really felt like they were on the right path had to change and adapt and adjust. So people prefer to be face to face, but with childcare issues in the States, there's still schools that are shut down. So how do you have somebody come back into work when the school age children are at home? So you have to accommodate those employees that you have so that they can do that. The two parents are at home trying to work side by side from home has been very challenging. I think as we move forward, what I see happen and what I've utilized is like a hybrid approach. I just finished coaching a gentleman that's an executive with one of the large power companies in the region. And we did a hybrid approach. We met in person, socially distanced, to kind of kick off our coaching assignment. And then half of our meetings were virtual, and then the other half were in person. And that allowed us to respect time. He had to travel quite a distance, actually, but that was an effective way to coach. So I think the people moving forward that are going to thrive as coaches, as leaders, are going to get comfortable using virtual communication, and yet seize the opportunity when it presents itself to be in person. If you go one way or the other, completely, all virtual or all in person, I think there's going to be struggles. So you're seeing a lot of interest in these virtual technologies from a stock market perspective, investment perspective, and they're getting better and better. So I would encourage leaders, coaches, people that are influencing, to not just utilize them. So one of the things I do, Ash, is I do training online, kind of virtual training, as well as the coaching. And it's a different type of media. You can't just do it the same way as if you're in person. You got to get the attendees much more active, much more involved. You got to use the Zoom breakout rooms or comparable things. Otherwise, people lose attention. They get bored. They get bored very easy. Zoom fatigue is real. And as speakers, trainers, coaches that are using these new kind of virtual technologies, we've got to up our game. We've got to learn how to master these. And I'll tell you, we have trainers present to us, my Vistage group, through Zoom, and not many of them have mastered it yet. Some just stand there and talk as if they were with you in the room, and it can get boring very fast. So I hope that answers your question. But I think having the ability to use a hybrid approach where it makes the most sense is going to help businesses and decision makers moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely, Michael. I think on that note, where you're talking about attention spans really being short, I think a lot of leaders are also questioning productivity, employee productivity when they're working remotely. So are that trust factor that, okay, my team is working remotely and I have to trust them. Are you seeing that there is a lack of empathy in leaders? How are you coaching them to trust their employees to be productive even while adopting the hybrid model or the fully remote model?
It's a great question. Again, pre-pandemic, I think people were like, how can I hold my people accountable if they're not in my office? How can I, know that they're doing what I need them to do if they're not, on site? And again, that was a deception right there. If they're in another room, or if you're in the office and they're back in the factory, or if they're in an office down the hall, you didn't know then whether they were being productive or not. What we're learning is that the main thing we need to know is, are they producing the outcomes? Is the quality of their work where you need it to be? Are they meeting deadlines like you need them to? And you can do that just as successfully virtually as you can with workers that are on site. So I see leaders kind of realize this. They become more aware that many workers are more productive at home. There's certain temperaments that really like being in peace and quiet, so they have a nice office set up at home. They put their music on, their head is down, and they are more productive than they've ever been. It used to bother them and be a distraction when people pop in their office and ask them questions and meetings all day. So they work after 5 o'clock. They're working nights, they're working weekends because they have the opportunity to do that. I'm not saying all workers are more productive, but I think many are. And again, with these new technologies, whether it's WebEx or Team or Zoom, we're still able to communicate. We're still able to collaborate on the projects. And as we learn how to do that and hold people accountable through that media, I think you're going to see, again, great companies use that hybrid approach and embrace it moving forward.
Yeah, that's a great point, Michael. I think that we've got good technology now that's actually built for us to work in different kind of environments and environments that we are comfortable with. And I think we just need to maximize our productivity, whether it's working from home or maybe in a garden or just in their room, whatever that is. I don't think it matters anymore. It's different now. So, shifting gears a little bit, a major part of your work journey, Michael, involves identifying, top talent, creating strong cultures, building high performing teams. So, I'm sure you'll agree that, sourcing and hiring has seen a lateral shift of the years with respect to technology. So, what are your views of, HR technology and its effectiveness given the current scenario now?
That's a great question. I think when it comes to identifying and selecting talent, it's important not to replace humans interviewers, people involved in the selection process, with a purely technological process. It just came out here. This it's what's the title of it? It just came out. It's about assessments and the abuse of assessments. The Myers-Briggs Persona. That's the name. It's a movie, a documentary that just came out called Persona. And I really think they make a good point that companies that are simply pacing candidates through a purely remote and technological process without any human intervention, that they're abusing it and they're making these grand assumptions based on test data whether a person is a fit or not. So when you ask me how to utilize technology, I mean, I've put my focus in the selection process. We have a executive recruiting company called the New School Group, and we focus on values, the individual's values, the company's values, and we try to find a match with values as well as the leader fit and the culture fit. So we've invested in an application. So we have an app that a candidate can take. It's a very simple app, but it's one that allows them to distill down their top 3 core values. We offer that to the company that is bringing us in to hire the talent too. So that's technology assisting in the recruiting process. I'm a firm believer in assessments. Years ago, they used to be paper and pencil assessments. Now everyone can get online and enter into a portal and take these assessments, and we can run comparisons as to how good a fit they are for the job as well as for the leader's style. So, Ash, my point is this, is that in my opinion, and I believe this for a long time, technology will never replace human beings. And if we use technology to support our efforts, to double check our efforts, to cut the cards on our efforts, to make sure we're being wise, I think that's the right approach. But if we are trying to get lazy and that technology is going to do all the work for us, the interview, the assessment, and then kind of spit out some prediction on a hire, I think that is very misplaced. But that's the age that we live in. Everyone's trying to leverage technology to save money. And when we do that, we're going to make poor hiring decisions. So if you're a decision maker, if you're a leader and you're listening to this, yes, use technology to supplement your decision. But you need to have a human being check references on the person. You need to have a human being do the selection interview, maybe not the screening interview, but the selection interview. And then you combine all that information from humans as well as from the data from technology, and then you're going to make a wise selection decision.
That really helps, Michael. I think a lot of our viewers, recruiters, and sourcers out there need this because, somewhere down the line, the markets have opened in different geographies and now they're struggling with, how do we really make this process efficient? And I'm sure, with your insight that, hey, you have technology, but, you need to be sort of important enough to take those decisions based on your gut, your intuition, and with the added layer of technology we have now, and that makes a lot of sense. So I'm going to wrap up this interview, Michael. I'm going to ask you our last question. Do you have any sound bites or maybe a quote that defines your feelings the best way about the future of work or workplaces or just about yourself?
Now, I thought about that, and there's a quote that has really resonated with me. I've been doing a program on coaching skills, a leadership style, for about 14 years now. And just last year with the pandemic, people weren't bringing presenters in person. So now we're offering that online. And over the years, when I've read about developing people, and as a leader, what should our attitude be toward people? I came across this quote, and it's attributed to Albert Einstein. Some people say maybe it wasn't him, but nonetheless, I'm going to attribute it to him. And it goes this way, Ash. It says, Everything that can be counted does not necessarily count. Everything that counts cannot be counted. And the way I take that, and the way I'd like the listeners to this to take that is profits, revenues, market share, anything that you use to describe and measure the success of your business is not the most important thing. You will never be successful or sustain success until you value the people. You cannot quantify human beings. And great leaders, in my opinion, and the focus of our training that we offer through the Develop a Coaching Mindset is to value our people and to have a coaching mindset in developing their skills and talents and meeting their needs personally and professionally so that they will become better. And we believe that the path to success is not a direct attack. You don't say, let's go get more revenue. What you do is you say, let's develop our people so that they can be more productive. And when our people become better and they're more productive, our businesses will be too. So I hope that quote helps somebody. It's blessed me and been an encouragement to me, and I refer to it often. Matter of fact, I have it on my office wall so that I can see it every day.
That's really, really amazing, Michael, and that's truly inspiring. I think that's the need of the hour, and a lot of businesses, think of value as, machines or infrastructure, but it's really people, not money or anything else that really helps them thrive. So that makes so much sense. Thank you so much, Michael. It's been wonderful talking to you.
Oh, it's been a pleasure to speak with you. Thank you.
Take care, Michael.
All right. Bye-bye.